5 daydreams that women must shatter in love. 5 dreams that women must shatter. Although destruction sounds a bit cruel, it still makes some sense when you read it carefully. Although love is a matter between two people, luck or misfortune, love or not can be completely controlled by oneself. One of the dreams that must be shattered. Love is destined. Kikin once talked about his sister Kiyu sincerely, thinking that her talent was far higher than his own. But for such a smart woman, she is always lonely in her relationship. In a TV interview, when she talked about relationship issues, she hugged her shoulders and smiled slightly. Love may have to wait a lifetime. Just keep waiting. There will always be a 100% perfect lover, holding a red rose in hand, waiting at the turning point of fate. As a result, our eyesight unconsciously becomes picky. Person A smokes too much and has no grace. Person B walks with a bit of a splayed figure, which is unsightly. Person C has good looks and career, but is dull and incapable of understanding the style. Even the slightest shortcomings will become the other person's fault. Reason for being out. We have no regrets because we firmly believe that we will meet our Mr. Right in the near future. Maybe you can really meet a perfect man, but it's a pity that the other person often has another person in mind. So we secretly thought, only he is the most suitable for me. This is destined. As long as we wait, there will be results. But time waits for no one. When crow's feet appear in the corner of the eyes, when no men are attentive to me anymore, then I begin to regret. A, B, and C, who were picky and disapproving at the beginning, turned out to be 70–80%, or even 90 lovers. Looking back at that sentence, it turns out it just means that it's best to meet the right person at the right time. If you can't, just settle for the next best thing. It's a pity that many women stick to their destined fate and refuse to settle for anything less. In the early 1990s, when the TV series Tokyo Love Story became popular all over China, everyone felt sorry for the optimistic, simple, and bitterly in love Akane Rika ended up alone. We hate that the man she loves is so ignorant that he chose another hypocritical woman, causing her lovely daughter to suffer for the rest of her life. But love is inherently unreasonable. Although Lixiang sees him 100, the 100% in his heart is just another woman. Lixiang's persistence moved us to tears for her, but it was she who was hurt. Change your eyes and change your perspective. In fact, during the time after she left, there were many young talents around her, and more than 70% of them were able to live happily. A woman like Kiyu might still have talent and books to fill her time. But how should we, ordinary people, face the desertedness of the room when we are gray-haired? In fact, marriage later has nothing to do with love. It is the greatest happiness for two people to work together to wrap themselves up in a quilt on a cold winter day. Destined fate, in the final analysis, must be found before it truly belongs to you. The second dream that must be shattered. He falls in love with your inner self, not your appearance. Although cosmetics have the magical effect of turning decay into magic, beautiful women are still in the minority. For an average-looking woman, the most alluring dream is, he falls in love with your inner self, not your appearance. No story makes women feel more excited than Jane Eyre, because it is an average-looking woman, not a beauty, who becomes the heroine and wins the deepest love from men. Jane Eyre has an ordinary appearance, but she has a rich heart and strong self-esteem. While she was working as a governess, she secretly fell in love with the male master, Mr. Rochester. Unexpectedly, her inner beauty had already deeply attracted the other party. Which woman has not secretly recited that soul-stirring declaration when she was young? Do you think that because I am poor and ugly, I have no feelings? Our spirits are the same. Just as you and I have passed through the grave, we will stand in the same place before God. Before, the shocking love story makes us believe that those men who are truly thoughtful and tasteful will abandon everything externally and fall in love with us only for our inner self. Is this really the case? When Jane Eyre finally stays with Rochester, he has lost his property and his eyes can no longer see beauty and ugliness. Otherwise, who can guarantee that he will not fall in love again and have a child with another beautiful Miss Ingram? Women who read more are most likely to overestimate the charm of inner beauty in men. My second cousin is one of them. The second cousin is a master's degree graduate from the University of Political Science and Law, a practicing lawyer, and is smart and capable. When she was in college, even among the few girls at the University of Political Science and Law, her appearance was at the lower middle level. But that doesn't dampen her confidence. She despises those beautiful women with breasts but no brains who are surrounded by men, convinced that they have beauty but no soul. Indeed, her heart could not be richer, but the fact made her look pale. She once had a male classmate who was excellent in all aspects. They got along well with each other, but they never entered into a substantial relationship. Does he love her? At least for several years she thought it was. But after a long and distant relationship, the male classmate unexpectedly married a beautiful girl who was 7 years younger than him. Facing her loss, he said with regret, "You are my confidant, and we will be lifelong friends." Confidant? This is a great irony for my second cousin. She finally understood why there were so many stories about heroes loving beauties, but Zhu Liang married an ugly wife only once in thousands of years. In the eyes of most men, ugly girls are not worthy of love. The ignorant little boys on campus also know how to make fun of their less attractive female classmates as dinosaurs. You can say that men are vain and superficial, but in the face of the embarrassing reality, we have to admit that in the eyes of men, primitive desire is always greater than spiritual appreciation. When it comes to choosing a mate to carry on the relationship, beautiful women always take advantage. If one day, a man declares that he falls in love with your inner self, maybe what you should see clearly is his inner self. The third dream that must be shattered. I don't know how to live without Hyman. The social news section of the newspaper. Within 3 days there will be news that a woman climbed to the roof of a building and committed suicide. Everyone tried their best to save her, but what they often heard was this sentence: "He doesn't want me anymore, and I don't know how to live without him." It was Bridget Lynn's 50th birthday not long ago, and many media made a special feature on her 50th birthday. Today, Bridget Lynn has everything and is still beautiful. Everyone knows that the person she married is not the romance boy Ken Han, who has been entangled for 18 years, but she is very happy. Then I had to think of another woman, Wang Miling, who had disappeared from this world for a long time. Anyone who has watched the 1983 version of The Legend of the Condor Heroes will definitely not forget her, the irreplaceable and charming Huang Rong. But just when her career was about to start, she committed suicide because of love. Don't you think it's worth it? Feel stupid? You can think like this when you are calm. But have you really never had similar thoughts? After falling out of love, while lying in bed alone, have you ever thought, "Just let me sleep and never wake up"? Most people are able to escape from this nightmare in the end. Others are trapped in the nightmare and eventually become bloody victims. The victim has left everything in the world behind, and there is nothing to be done about it, so anything else that can be said is superfluous. The scary thing is that those who survive often self-mutilate, give up on themselves, and even the slightest, feel sorry for themselves. In a woman's best age, she makes herself out of shape, or like Mrs. Jonglin, she declares that she is a scapegoat everywhere. A woman abandons her husband, or she looks gloomy all day long, with her face full of past vicissitudes. Is this interesting? When you get older and understand life better, when you recall that time, you will only be left with shame and regret, right? Today, nearly 20 years after Wang Miling committed suicide, I saw Tang Zhenai in a second-rate movie, the man who was said to have made Wang Miling commit suicide. When I told the young girl about that past event, the 16-year-old girl exclaimed in surprise, "Huh? Just because of this pig-headed old man?" This sentence made me feel pity in my heart. Tang Zhenai was naturally a handsome young man when he was young, otherwise Wang Miling would never love him so much that she couldn't live without him. However, if Wang Miling could see Tang Zhenai today, I believe she would not commit suicide. Maybe she won't be so mean and say that the fat Tang Zhenai is an old man with a pig's head, but she will find that he is just an ordinary man, and she actually died just because she couldn't be with him. When you are in love, do you also feel that the man you love is the best man in the world, and you must have him? He is one of a kind, and without him your life would be dark? In fact, it is because there is light on him, and this light confuses your eyes. But it was not his own light, but the light of love. The light of love makes an ordinary person appear extraordinary, and ordinary people are his true face. Trust me, if you feel you can't live without someone, you just need to wait some time. It can be as short as 3 to 5 months, or as long as 3 to 5 years. The light of love will definitely fade from him. At that time, you will realize that he is actually just a man. If he is good, he is just a pretty ordinary man. If it's not good, you will find shortcomings in him that will make you regret, and your intestines will turn blue. This is the power of time. In this world, There is no one who cannot survive without him, unless he is the God who provides you with water, air, sunshine, and food. So, don't believe the silly words "I can't live without you." Just say it when you are passionately in love. Don't take it seriously. The fourth dream that must be shattered. I will be his last woman. A man who eats abalone and shark's fin must cherish porridge and side dishes. Therefore, even though he is romantic and famous, you can't stop fantasizing about him. I will be his last woman. A well-known rich man in Macau, in today's monogamous world, openly married into wives and concubines. When the reporter interviewed his fourth wife, the beautiful woman, originally from Guangdong and good at dancing, said confidently, "I will be his last woman." Maybe you are not so beautiful and the man you fall in love with is not so rich. But why don't you have the same fantasy about him? I will be his last woman. The last one is the most cherished. No matter how many experiences he has had before, as long as he meets you, everything becomes the prelude to the music. Only you are the most suitable ending for him. You may not be beautiful or charming enough, but you have something unique about you, such as kindness and talent, which makes him deeply impressed, and he must be you. Zhang Ailing is a talented woman who fell in love with the romantic and talented Hu Lanqing. Before they fell in love, Hu Lanqing had been the husband of 3 other women. In the eyes of outsiders, he was not a reliable man, but Zhang Ailing, who had always been shrewd and sophisticated, fell into it. The two entered into an engagement, and Zhang Ailing cherished her feelings and gave him a message. But let the years be quiet and peaceful, and this world will be stable. What is considered stable and quiet? Zhang Ailing did not say it clearly, but in a quiet and stable world, there would be absolutely no outsiders. After all, what Zhang Ailing hopes is to become Hu Cheng's last woman. However, Zhang Ailing's talent could not prevent Hu Lanqing from quickly holding a wedding ceremony with the youthful and energetic nurse Zhao Zhou, and the youthful and energetic nurse Zhao Zhou could not prevent Hu Lanqing from getting closer to the mature and charming Fan Shumai. For a romantic man, no one will be his last woman. No matter how nice he says it, he will not treat each other as the only one in his life, like you. You are just one in his life, whether it is light or important, or insignificant. Regarding the fourth bedroom's confident statement, the rich man's first wife, who was already paralyzed in bed, sneered, "No one will be his last woman." After experiencing the invasion of the family by the second, third and fourth bedrooms, this first wife must have already felt sad. Like a bright mirror, if you sincerely cherish your feelings, never imagine that a man who has a wife but is still looking for love, or a man who shows mercy everywhere, will truly fall in love with you and let you be his last. The fifth dream that must be shattered. If you love him, you must give everything for him unconditionally. Since we were young, we have believed that giving everything to your lover unconditionally is the meaning of true love. A 28-year-old woman has been the mistress of her boss since she was 18, doing housework for him, making soup and cooking for him, for 10 years, but she never asks for anything, and even the money for miscarriage after accidental pregnancy is pay out of pocket. She said, "I really love him, so I don't ask for anything from him. Even if I have no status, I will always love him." Regarding love, we have such a misunderstanding. Yes, it is a misunderstanding. We think that if we fall in love with someone, we should give love without making any demands, even if we have to bear a lot of pain for it. All public opinion tells us that this is loyalty and virtue. If you ask for something from your lover, no matter what, even if it is equal love and equal respect from him, then all you will receive will be scolding. He can even kick you out openly for this reason, and even gain public opinion. Understanding. Only when we are truly wives and mothers and experience the torture of life, will we know how heavy a shackles this kind of love, which can only be touched in illusory TV novels, is in real life. The 28-year-old woman had been out of touch with society for 10 years. She suffered multiple miscarriages and was unable to have children anymore. She finally lost her lust and was kicked out of the house by her boyfriend. The more noble and selfless her love, the sadder her ending. If this is a kind of poison, then there are really not a few women around you and me who are suffering from this kind of poison. The more profound type of poisoning is to willingly be a man's underground lover, refusing to ask for anything from him in order to prove that one is truly in love and not coveting anything from him. The other type of more profound poisoning is the husband or boyfriend if they have bad habits such as gambling or drug abuse. They will use themselves to fill the bottomless pit until they are dragged to the point where they can no longer live and still cannot bear to leave. The most common type is the kind of woman who is a good wife and loving mother. In order to fulfill a man, she gave up her pursuit and retreated behind him to become a cook and washerwoman. When he became famous, she despised herself as a yellow-faced woman. When he found a younger and more beautiful woman outside, he still endured the humiliation and tolerated him, hoping for a little bit of mercy from him. Are there many women like this? Are they so numb that they can't feel their own pain? Or can they actually get pleasure from this self-abuse method? No, it's not that they can't feel it. It's just that they have been suppressed by a powerful argument. True love should have no conditions. Why wait until the sacrifice is irreversible to wake up? You and your man are originally two completely unrelated people in the world. Why is it that once two people are connected by love, they have an unshakable responsibility for each other, and one party has to do everything for the other without asking for anything? What about giving? Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.